The first female boss in the history of the Mafia underworld was Assunta Maresca, also known as Puppetta, Little Doll in Italian. Born in the Castellamare di Stabia region of southern Italy on January 19, 1935. Assunta Maresca was nicknamed Puppetta due to her small stature and attractive features, traits that led to her being crowned Miss Rovigliano, a village in Naples, in 1954 at the age of 19. Puppetta was the wife of the wealthy and powerful boss Pasquale Simonetti of Palma, Campania. Their wedding took place on April 27, 1955, and Puppetta was 4 months pregnant. The witness to the wedding was Antonio Esposito, the mastermind behind the murder of Puppetta's husband in the not-too-distant future. Welcome to Detective TV channel. Before meeting Puppetta, Simonetti was heavily involved in cigarette smuggling, but after a series of armed clashes involving rival gangs, he decided to give up the smuggling game and teamed up with another Camorra boss, Antonio Esposito, to start a lucrative fruit and vegetable business. Puppetta was the only daughter in a family of 4 brothers. Puppetta's father was Vincenzo Maresca, a mafia boss in the Camorra organization who controlled the entire municipality of Castellamare di Stabia and made most of his money from the illicit cigar trade, along with other illegal activities. Puppetta's first run-in with the Italian law was while still in high school, when he attacked a classmate and was charged with causing serious injury, but was fortunately not convicted because the victim withdrew his complaint. On July 16, 1955, just 80 days after marrying Puppetta, Simonetti was shot by Gaetano Orlando on Esposito's secret orders. Puppetta's husband was seriously wounded by a gunshot while working at the vegetable market and died after being transferred to the hospital. Before dying, Simonetti managed to whisper the name of the murderer, Antonio Esposito. Extremely angry, Puppetta quickly decided that she needed to avenge her husband even if she had to wait for the opportunity for several months. Puppetta not only wanted to avenge her husband's death, but also wanted to do it herself. Finally, on the morning of August 4, 1955, Puppetta Maresca and her brother Ciro drove to the Grand One Cafe in the Corso Novara district near the Naples train station. At that time, Antonio Esposito was sitting alone reading the newspaper and drinking his morning coffee. After identifying the enemy, Puppetta calmly pulled out a revolver from her bag and began firing a volley at the target. Puppetta killed her enemy with the same gun that Pasquale had given her on their wedding day. After running out of bullets, Puppetta grabbed Ciro's gun and continued to fire at Esposito's lifeless body. Then, Puppetta coldly left with her brother. The day of the revenge shooting that killed Antonio Esposito on the spot was not chosen randomly. Puppetta's husband was killed exactly 80 days after the wedding, and Assunta killed Esposito on the same number of days. While the newspapers continued to tell the bloody story of the Camorra, Puppetta began to go into hiding. But Puppetta's escape did not last long. Puppetta Maresca was arrested and thrown into prison, where she was treated with respect not only because she was a Camorra widow but also because she was expecting a child. In January 1956, Puppetta Maresca gave birth to a son, named Pasquale's son, after his father. Meanwhile, director Francesco Rosi was always paying attention to what was happening in Italy in general and the city of Naples in particular during those years. Rosi decided to make a film to tell the story of Pasquale and Assunta Puppetta Maresca. The film was titled The Challenge. Thanks to Rossi's film work, Puppetta became an increasingly famous woman, almost a legend, who in the eyes of everyone still deserved respect despite her crimes. Regardless of the reason for killing only to avenge her husband, Assunta Maresca had to face justice like everyone else. In a historic move, the Naples court authorized the use of loudspeakers for the first time so that the crowd outside could hear what Puppetta Maresca had to say. Puppetta argued that she feared for her own life and that of her unborn child and was forced to defend herself. The trial began in 1959 and the judge decided not to reduce Puppetta's sentence. The final sentence was 18 years in prison. Puppetta's legal team used the appeals process and had her sentence reduced to 13 years. In reality, Puppetta served no more than 10 years in prison because she was paroled in 1965. Puppetta was still young when she left prison and had plenty of time to rebuild her life. Not long after, Puppetta faced another terrible loss. In early 1974, Pasquale Jr. suddenly disappeared and Puppetta believed that her son had been murdered, although his body was never found. Meanwhile, Amaturo was suspected of killing Pasquale Jr. However, Amaturo was never convicted due to lack of evidence. Puppetta Maresca was charged with masterminding the 1981 revenge murder of Ciro Galli, a man of Rafael Cutolo. The prosecutor asked for a life sentence, but in 1985, Puppetta was acquitted due to lack of evidence. In July 1982, Puppetta was arrested again for allegedly conspiring with Amaturo to kill criminologist Aldo Semerari. However, Puppetta was acquitted of that charge. Puppetta was also acquitted of subsequent charges of extortion at a bank and drug trafficking. In 1982, the Lady Camorra appeared in all the Italian newspapers again. This time, Puppetta took the initiative to contact the Italian media. In fact, Puppetta herself organized a press conference in which she accused Rafael Cutolo and declared that she was ready to kill again if the NCO boss murdered her family. Even though Puppetta's turbulent life story ended in the 1980s, whenever there was an opportunity, it continued to be mentioned in the Italian newspapers. For example, in 1994, the Rome Civil Court granted the right to broadcast a television series about the life of Assunta Puppetta Maresca, titled Puppetta Maresca, the story of a criminal. However, Puppetta opposed the publication of the film because she felt that her honor had been offended in some scenes. After closing 2 clothing stores in Naples, Puppetta Maresca officially retired to the Castellamare di Stabia neighborhood of Naples. The last time anyone heard of Puppetta was in 2013, when the Italian television channel Mediaset aired the series Puppetta, Courage and Passion.
Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed the content. And as always, feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments below. See you in the next one.